Hi, this is Akshay from Team 4, and I'm here to present the video of A06 presentation. So this is the final fully functional application with testing of both the front end and the back end parts. So here is my project in Eclipse. So these are the packages in which it's organized. The test package in the test package there is Excel package wherein all the test cases are listed in CSV format, and this test cases these are the test inputs in CSV, and the test cases are listed here in the Selenium package. So we'll be running these all of these one by one, and we have the all the configurations in the configuration dot properties. Herein we have the app URL which is dynamic. We can change it anytime. Okay, this is the URL on which the application is hosted. And the login properties I've listed in these in this property files. So this is also dynamic, and also the shade UI map properties, wherein the all the properties of the references of HTML page and buttons have been put in here. So let's start this application, and I'll just run it here, index.jsp. Also, the functions are here in the parking system functions.java. All the functions that we have made, which makes our test cases easy. Yeah, so the application is up. Now let's run all the test cases one by one. So in the first test case, what we are doing is we are trying to register a user. We'll do it for all the user manager and admin, and we are also asserting the errors if we submit it without proper field values. So it basically we basically assert the errors. So it checks for the validations also. So I'll just run it. It will start the front end test. Yeah, so first we fill the empty form, all the validations, then we fill the correct values and it registers. So it runs for first one, the user. Now it will try to register the manager, all the empty values are the correct values, and it has registered. Now for the admin, it should run empty form, assert all the errors, correct values, register. So this is the first successfully the first test case ran. Now I'll run the second test case. What it is doing is it's doing the login. It's checking the login functionality for all the three users, and we'll also assert the validations, the errors, if we say, submit with invalid login credentials or empty input username or password, as you can see. So it logs in and it logs out. First we check the errors. Similarly for manager and admin, first it checked the errors, then it logged in when we pass the correct credentials. Yep, so that is the test case 2. Yeah, so we'll see the test case 4, which in which the manager deactivates a parking spot. He'll search for a parking spot and then he'll deactivate. We'll also see the validations. He'll search the parking spot by the spot ID. Here the manager logs in, searches for a parking spot. You get a spot and he deactivates it. Log out. So we've seen this test case also ran successfully. Now we'll see the test case number 5, in which the manager will add a parking area. So we'll run this test case now. So the manager logs in, clicks on add parking area. First we'll assert the errors in case we add, like, without we enter a we try to submit an empty form. So we saw the validations there, and then we entered the correct values and the parking area has been added. So we see this test case has been successful. Okay, now we'll see the sixth test case, wherein the manager tries to edit a parking area. So I'll run this test case. So the manager logs in, searches for a parking area, tries to submit an empty form. So it'll change the values now because the empty form is not acceptable. We asserted the errors, and now when he submits the empty form, the parking area has been edited. So we see this test case has also been successful. Okay, so the seventh test case we'll see, wherein well, the manager will set a violation for a user for either no show or any particular reason. So I'll run this test case. So the manager will first search for the user, and then it will select his reservation, and then it will set a violation. So it searches for the user, and then his reservation, he'll edit it, sets a violation. So this test case has also ran successfully. Now we'll see the eighth test case, wherein the administrator revokes a user. So let's run this test case. The administrator will first search for a user, and then he'll revoke his status so that he is not able to make any reservations. So the admin will log in, then he'll search for a user, and then he put some comments and he revoked it. He put a comment for overstaying. So this has also ran successfully. Next test case is the test case 9, wherein the admin will search for a user by his first name. So we'll also check the validations in place, wherein if we try to search without entering any search field, empty field, it should throw some errors, and we are asserting them. So here we put a blank field and it gives an error, and we put in the value, we get two users by that field. So here, so this searching by the first name works, and this has ran successfully. The next test case would be when admins tries to search for a user by his UTID. Again, like last time, I'll have the validations and assertions in place. If I try to search it without entering any field, an empty field. So admin logs in, clicks on search user, tries to submit it with an empty link. Then he searches for the UTID by 1001, and he gets the results and he logs out. So this test case has executed successfully. Now the next test case would be the 11th test case, wherein the user updates his own profile. So like previously we saw, we'll check all the errors and assertions when we try to submit an empty form, just to check if the validations are there. So user logs in, clicks on edit profile, tries to submit, clears all the fields, he sees all the errors, then he'll update the fields and whatever the value needs to be updated, and then he updates and then logs out. So we see that the 11th test case also ran successfully. Now the test case 12 would be wherein the manager and the admin will update the profile of a user. So both have been clubbed in one test case only. So let's see how it works. So as earlier, admin and manager would log in and search for a user by any field, and then they'll select the user and update his or her profile. Oh, it ran. Sorry, missed that out. So the manager part is done. Uh, like the update user functionality, we are reusing that function that we made for user updating for updating his own profile. So we are just using two functions back to back. First is the search user and then update user. So we are just reusing the functions. These validations are like we already saw. So we have updated the user profile by both the admin and the manager. So this test case is also executed. This is the 13th test case wherein the user will view his or her own status. So the user, there are two scenarios. Either the user is active user or his status is revoked, meaning he cannot make a reservation. So we'll see both the scenarios. So first user logs in, he clicks on view status and this is an active user. Okay. Now we'll see for the other user. So this his status for user 3, the status is revoked. So we cover this scenario as well. Okay, the next next test case would be when the user tries to make a reservation when his status is already revoked. So let's see. So user has logged in. Sorry. Okay, the next test case would be when a user tries to make a reservation when he already has exceeded his limit or when he already has made 3 reservations, which is the maximum limit. So we'll check out the error in that case. So user is logged in and when he clicks on request reservation, the error says that maximum limit for reservation has been reached. So this also executes perfectly. Let's see the 16th test case. It says when the manager deletes a reservation, manager will search for a user and he'll delete his particular reservation. So let's run this. So the manager will log in and he'll search for the user and then he'll select his reservations and then delete them. So manager logs in, searches for the user, selects a user, clicks on view reservation and then he'll delete the reservation and then log out finally. So this test case is also executed. So now let's see the 17th test case wherein the user will himself update his own reservation. So we can change the vehicle number or update the card details or options, whatever. User logs in, clicks on view reservations and select a reservation, click on edit reservation, change his vehicle number or something and update it and log out finally. So this also works. So this is the test case 14 wherein a user tries to make a reservation when his status is already revoked. So we'll assert the error, the validation that he cannot make a reservation because his status is already revoked. So I've started the test case. So the user logs in, tries to make a request reservation. It says cannot make reservation as your privilege has been privilege has been revoked. So and the user logs out. So that's it.
So this is test case number 3 that we forgot to show you earlier. So I'm just gonna run it right here. So test case 3 is all about making a reservation and asserting out the errors on each intermediate pages that are for the reservation. So right here we have index page, then login page, then we make a request for reservation, then we assert out errors, then we have parking area selection page, assert out errors, and then we have payment page, assert out error and fill those errors, and then we have successful reservation. Then we do home page and log out, then we go to the index page, and that is it.